what is going on, guys and gals of YouTube? It's your boy Spencer down here at Mellow Vapes in Indian Land, coming at you with another instructional video today. Today is going to be on the Cerberus tank. So, let's say you've used your Cerberus tank for about a week and your coil is starting to go bad. So, for example, I have a Cerberus tank on my geekvape Aegis Mini, or the Aegis Solo. I have all four of them, so I get confused sometimes, and these two look exactly the same. But not the point. The point is, coils go bad. It's just inevitable with this hobby, whatever you want to call it. And I've changed my fair share of coils. For my tank specifically, now the Cerberus tank does use a bunch of different coils. A really popular one that people have been using is the GT mesh coils. I'm a pretty big fan of the GT mesh coils, but for the Aegis Mini, I find that they draw a little bit too much power and my battery life is kind of reduced when I use them, so I tend to avoid them. The coils that I do use, though, are the geekvape super mesh coils, the X1, the 0.2 ohm coils, and the ohms is a measure of resistance in the coil. So to change the coil, what you're going to want to do is first remove the tank from the device. So I've got the tank sitting here, and because the Cerberus tank is kind of a pain in the butt in terms of getting the top off, usually what I do is, if you know how to fill the juice on this thing, it's just a quarter turn and then the top comes off. But it also doubles as a wrench. A lot of people don't know that, so a lot of people will pull the top off and then they'll go to try to unscrew the tank, and you're not going to do it, because the only purchase you have is this tiny little bit of metal there. But if you leave the cap on and you grab the bottom of the tank and the top of the tank and you just twist counterclockwise, the whole tank should come apart. So you pull the top off and then you can grab your glass and then the whole tank comes apart like so. Now, my coil definitely needs to be replaced. I don't know if you can see in there, but it is brown and it is full of shmoo, and that is not something I want to be inhaling on the daily basis. So, first step, you take your coil and the base and you just twist your coil off. It might be a little tight. It might not, depends on how tight you put the coil in there or how tight you had somebody else put the coil in there. But hopefully after this video you can do it yourself, so you don't have to worry about somebody else cranking the coil in there, because there's been too many times where I've had to take a wrench or a pair of pliers to remove a coil from a tank, and you don't need it that tight. But you just unscrew it counterclockwise and you take your coil and you throw it in the garbage. That's junk. Then you take your new coil, and as you can see, you've got those little ports on the side, the cotton, and then you've got cotton in the top. I just take my juice and I'll put a little dot of juice actually in those little ports, and right now I am using Violet by Vaporgate. Legitimately one of my favorite flavors ever. It kind of just came at me by surprise. My manager gave me like the tiniest little bit of a bottle, and I fell in love with it and ended up buying my own bottle because this stuff is amazing. So what I do is I just put one drop and I just soak that section of cotton, turn the coil, soak that section of cotton, turn the coil again, and you're going to do this 4 times. Dot there, and let's see if I can get you guys to see this. Just a dot of cotton on the coil. So then you go to the top of the coil, and you see how there's cotton in there? We just take a little bit of juice and go around the rim and just get that bit of cotton soaked up. Now, there's a lot of discrepancy about how you put the coil back into the tank. Some people like to put it into the top of the tank. I'm just going to tell you straight up, don't do that. Because the most important seal you have between coil and tank is going to be the actual coil to the base. That is where your electrical connection is, and it also leads right into the vents for the actual airflow. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your coil and you're going to screw it into the base. And you're just going to keep on screwing it in. You're going to keep screwing it in until you're going to start to feel some resistance, and then it's just going to stop. Don't go any further than that. The O-ring has been seated and it's against the actual 510 pin on the bottom of the tank, because the bottom of the coil meets that pin. So then you take your top section and you just screw that onto the tank, and then you take your top cap and you fill it with juice. There we go. And we should be good. And that is how you change the coil on a Cerberus tank. So, thank you guys for your time. You guys have a fantastic day, and we'll see you later.